Okay, so let's just go ahead and get into the actual phone calls, right? So Jay Glover calls Brianna, and basically Jamarcus says to Brianna, call Doug, aka Adrian Walker, on Facebook and see where the heck Doug is at. He's got my money riding around in my car, and he ain't even where he's supposed to be. And then Breonna Taylor goes, you said Doug? And then Jamarcus says, yeah, Big Doug. And then Breonna Taylor says, I'll call him. Why can't I find him on Facebook? What's his name on here? Jamarcus says, Michi Walker. And then Breonna says, I'm sorry. And then there's another phone call from Jamarcus to Breonna. And Jamarcus says, you talked to Doug, aka Adrian Walker. Breonna basically says, yeah. He said he's already back in the trap. Then I talked to him again just a minute ago to see if you had contacted him. They couldn't post bond until 1. Jay Glover's Jamarcus says, just be on standby so I can so you can come and get me. Love you. And then she says, love you too, right? So then there's another call and from jail to Brianna, from Jamarcus in jail to Brianna. And then Jamarcus says, I'll come get some rest in your bed. Brianna says, Jamarcus. And then Jamarcus says, what, you don't want me in your bed? And then B. Taylor says, I didn't say that. I haven't really been sleeping right either. I keep waking up every other hour, type of, stuff. And then Jamarcus says, checking on me. I want you to know I appreciate it. And then Brianna basically says, when you're around, I stress more because I just always be worried about you, not like with you and these heifers, but just period with the police, like all that kind of stuff. Then you go to the next page, finishing up this conversation. Glover says to B. Taylor, I love you. She says, I love you too. Let's see what we have next here. Let me blow it up a little bit. It is important to note that from January 1st to January 3rd, Breonna Taylor's phone number was called 48 times from jail. Unfortunately, several of the calls are no longer available to listen to, and the number is called from booking. It does not provide an inmate's name. However, once the inmate is booked and assigned to a dormitory, the system is able to track the inmate that is making the call. In the time frame referenced above, Jamarcus Glover called Breonna Taylor 26 times from his dormitory, and a male by the name of Curtis Palm called Breonna Taylor 7 times from his dormitory. Curtis Palm, date of birth, we're not gonna, uh, whatever, has been convicted for possession of controlled substance, cocaine, 2016, as well as a history of other felony convictions per court net. Then it goes on. At this point, the investigation, PBI detectives have conducted physical surveillance and surveillance through the poll camera numerous of times. The 2400 block of Elliott Avenue through the PBI detectives training and experience. 2424 Elliott Avenue appeared to be a trap house where drugs are sold and supplies of narcotics for the trap house were Jamarcus Glover and Adrian Walker. PBI detectives observed through their surveillance that when the narcotics being dealt from 2424 Elliott Avenue were low, minimum pedestrian and vehicle traffic, Jamarcus Glover or Adrian Walker would show up operating a red 2017 Dodge Charger, Kentucky, license plate, blah, 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 and appeared to re-up the trap house at 2424 Elliott Avenue. Both individuals have been observed either exiting 2424 Elliott Avenue or dropping suspicious narcotics near the sidewalk between the vacant house at 2425 Elliott Avenue and 2427 Elliott Avenue. Once they left the area, the pedestrians and the vehicle traffic resumed to normal. During the early afternoon hours of January 9th, 2020, PBI detectives observed that the red 2017 Dodge Charger leaving 2424 Elliott. PBI detectives attempted to follow the vehicle to further investigate into Jamarcus Glover, Adrian Walker's criminal enterprise. PBI detected a difficult time following the vehicle as the operator conducted, I can't see this, heat checks by driving around the same city block twice using evasive maneuvers. by making abrupt turns and unsafe lane changes. Since the PBI detectives had exhausted all conventional means of surveillance on this vehicle, a search warrant for a GPS tracker device to be installed on the vehicle was applied for and signed and see attached. And of course, that we don't have that attachment read is on the next page. January 10th, 2020, LMPD tech unit installed GPS tracking device on the red 2017 Dodge Charger from January 12th to January 31st, 2020. The data for the GPS tracking device shows that the vehicle went to 3003 Springfield Drive 6 times, and it just gives a bunch of dates. See the attached map. So it's given the dates that uh, they drove this Dodge Charger to Breonna Taylor's house. And here is, I guess, the tracking report. And then January 16th, PBI detectives observed Jamarcus Glover operating the red 2017 Charger pull up and park in front of 3003 Springfield Drive. PBI detectives then observed Jamarcus Glover walk directly into the apartment. After a short period of time, Jamarcus Glover was observed exiting the apartment with the suspected USPS package in sight. In his right hand, I'm sorry, not in sight, in his right hand. Detective Kelly Gottlet was able to take photos, see attached, and that's what we see over here on the right side. We'll blow this up in a second. Jamarcus Glover then got back into the red 2017 Dodge Charger and drove straight to 2605 West Muhammad Ali Boulevard. Through physical surveillance, PBI detectives had observed numerous short stays, both pedestrian and vehicle, at 2605 West Muhammad Ali Boulevard, as well as Jamarcus Glover and his associates come and go from that location. PBI detectives believe that 2605 West Muhammad Ali Boulevard was a secondary trap house and their narcotics trafficking operation. So, all right. So now I'm starting to see where everything is kind of tied in. And okay, so she's dating a drug dealer, obviously. But besides the jail conversations, I'm not sure whether this actually kind of implements her into the crime. I guess she could probably be implemented because he's given her instructions to basically reach out to somebody, and he's given her instructions to basically track this guy down. I mean, that could be kind of weak, but she could be implicated in a RICO charge. And as you guys already know, a RICO charge, they don't actually have to prove that you did anything. We already know that. All they have to do is just prove that you were associated with the individuals. So they have this guy Jamarcus, and they have him going back and forth to her house. I mean, and that's obvious that he's going back and forth to her house because he's living there, they're dating. And then you saw the romantic phone conversation. And then they also mentioned that they had 26 other recorded calls, but they lost those calls. So I mean, it's kind of a weak case for RICO charges. I'm just thinking off the top of my head because they're in a relationship. They're in a relationship, and yes, she did run some errands for him. But let me just flip back to that section there. Yeah, she ran some errands for him. She's basically trying to find this guy, Big Meech, or Meechy Walker, or Big Doug, but he doesn't really give her any instructions to do anything wrong. He just basically tells her to call him. He's got my card. He's not where he's supposed to be. So there's no wrongdoing in these recorded calls. The only thing they have on Breonna Taylor thus far is that she's dating a drug dealer. I don't think that's going to be enough for a jury to basically convict her of RICO. Let me know what you think. Leave your questions and comments below. Do you think Breonna Taylor should have just been arrested? And do you think that she should have been part of a RICO charge. Let me know what you think. So I'm just reading this information as it comes. And again, I'm throwing it out there that I don't have any way of confirming this report. I don't know if it's legit. If you can prove it's legit, please leave your questions and comments below. So I'm just going to read a little bit more here, then I'm just going to stop the video. PBI detectives applied for a second GPS tracking device on the red 2017 Dodge Charger because the first warrant was expiring. See attached. At this point in the investigation, PBI detectives learned via the GPS tracking that the red 2017 Dodge Charger had made a trip to Biloxi, Mississippi, where Jamarcus Glover once resided, and has ties to narcotics trafficking in Mississippi. PBI detectives submitted a grand jury subpoena for Jamarcus Glover, Adrian Walker, Kiera Bradley, Jamarcus Child's mother, Chase Bank records attached. So, huh. Then it goes on February 13th at approximately 14:27 hours. PBI detectives observed through the pole camera Jamarcus Glover operating a black Dodge Charger. He's got a black one now. Pull up in front of 2424 Elliott Avenue and go inside the residence. The vehicles is registered to Breonna Taylor at 3003 Springfield Drive. So, so this is getting worse and worse because these vehicles are registered in her name. He's going back and forth to her house. I don't know. You guys give me your honest opinion. Again, I'm not for killing innocent black people. And I don't want to, I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't really want to see any evidence against Breonna Taylor. And I don't really want to see a justification for her being killed. Like, nobody deserves to be killed by the police because they were dating a drug dealer. I'm just being open and honest. I'm just being open and honest with this, and I'm just talking off the top of my head. I'm just kind of thinking through this. Like, she has all these cars registered in her name. She has this guy going to and from her house. He's picking packages up, leaving her house. I don't know, you guys. I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say it. Just be honest. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? So she's implied in this. She's implied in this. Leave your questions and comments below. Let me know what you're thinking. So the vehicles registered to Breonna Taylor at 3003 Springfield Drive, Louisville, Kentucky. At approximately 14:30 hours, PBI detectives observed Breonna Taylor get out of the passenger side of the vehicle and look around for a few seconds before she got back into the vehicle. At approximately 14:32 hours, PBI detectives observed Jamarcus Glover exit 2424 Elliott Avenue and get back into the vehicle, and then the vehicle pulled off eastbound on Elliott Avenue. See attached photos. It is important to note that the PBI detectives have observed on the pole camera Breonna Taylor's black Dodge Charger pull up in front of 2424 Elliott Avenue numerous times at various hours of day and night. See attached photo. And then it just goes on February 14th, officers Corey Evans, LMPD division, towed the red 2017 Dodge Charger from 2605 West Muhammad Ali Boulevard for a parking violation. Jamarcus Glover went to LMPD First District desk clerk and attempted to file a complaint against Officer Evans. Jamarcus Glover gave the phone number to contact him, which is registered to Breonna Taylor. PBI detectives were able to verify through Clear, a law enforcement database, that as of February 20, 2020, Jamarcus Glover used Breonna Taylor's address 3003 Springfield Drive, Louisville, Kentucky, as his residence. I mean, that's no big deal because they were obviously, dating, and, he was living with her. I mean, that's obvious from the surveillance that they did. PBI detectives received Jamarcus Glover's bank records from Chase Bank. On these bank statements, Jamarcus Glover used 3003 Springfield Drive, Louisville, Kentucky, 40214 as his mailing address attached. PBI detectives, with the assistance of other criminal and interdiction, never heard that word before. Interdiction Division, CID detectives, and SWAT team executed simultaneously search warrants at 2424 Elliott Avenue, 2425 Elliott Avenue, 2426 Elliott Avenue, and 3003 Springfield Drive. See attached. During a search of 2424 Elliott Avenue, PBI detectives were able to recover a large amount of suspected crack cocaine and suspected fentanyl pills inside the Crown Royal bag in a tree in the backyard of the property that was hidden in order to avoid detection from law enforcement. K9 Maverick alerted on the bag containing the narcotics. PBI detectives also located large amounts of U.S. currency, digital scales, and other evidence of narcotics trafficking within the residence. Pictures were taken of an attempt to destroy suspected cocaine by placing it inside the toilet tank in the residence. 3 firearms were recovered from the glove box of the beige 2001 Crown Royal. Yada, yada, yada. And 1 firearm recovered from a gap to the right of the front porch steps at the vacant house at 2426 Elliott Avenue. Jamarcus Glover, Demarius Bowman, Rayshawn Lee, and Alicia Jones were located at 2424 Elliott Avenue at the time the search warrant were executed. PBI detectives were able to seize all these individuals' cell phones and execute search warrants on them. PBI detectives also obtained an LGE bill from inside 2424 Elliott Avenue and had Adrian Walker's name on it, when the search warrant was executed at 3003 Springfield Drive, for which Breonna Taylor was listed on an officer involved shooting occurred, and as Breonna Taylor was killed. Present inside the apartment at the time the search warrant was executed was Breonna Taylor and Kenneth Walker. The Public Integrity Unit responded to the scene and took over the investigation. So what date was this actually? This is kind of odd because, okay, so this is March 13, 2020. So it looks like this is odd because she's dating Jamarcus Glover, and March 13th. Well, we don't know that she was dating. Well, we do know she was dating Jamarcus Glover, but I know that the guy that actually, pulled the trigger, which we're going to get to in a minute, his name escapes me. He said that, well, he didn't say it. I believe that he was supposed to be her boyfriend. So I'm just kind of confused as of the dates of the relationship. So yeah, something doesn't seem right here. So it goes on. Where was I? It is important to note that PBI detectives had a signed search warrant for 2605 West Muhammad Ali Boulevard, but due to the OIS and the limited resources available, the warrant was unable to be served. That's interesting. And then March 13, 2020, jail phone calls Jamarcus Glover, Jay Glover to Kiara Bradley, child's mother, from booking. K. Bradley to Jamarcus, chop that girl got you killed. Chop that girl got killed over you. Jay Glover, K. Bradley, why would you say that over me though? All my mail and stuff ain't got nothing to do with Bree's house. And then K. Bradley, but no, remember you had bank statements in that box and you leave that stuff behind for them to hit your house, and that putting 2 and 2 together, come on, Chop, the way you move, period. So I guess his nickname is Chop. Come on, Chop, the way you move, period. So, all right, so this is confusing. I'm having a little problem putting all this together because at first it appears that So I'm a little confused with this. So it looks like he's using her address, and we don't know that he actually had permission to use her address. You know, people do things, right? When people are in relationships, sometimes certain people are sneaky. And yes, I'm making an excuse for Breonna Taylor. I'm going the extra mile, and I'm making an excuse for her. We don't know, and I'm coming to her defense. We don't know that she approved of him using the address. We don't know how the cars got in her name. It's easy to assume that maybe she got the cars in her name because she was in love with this guy. But other things can happen too, right? Forgery can happen, right? It's easy for someone to forge your name and put, things in your name and you not know about it. And I actually remember when I was in college, and I'm chilling in my dorm with my roommate, and all of a sudden we hear this knock on the door, and some guys come into the room, and they're like, just give us a car, just give us a car. And my roommate is like, looking at these guys. He's like, what the hell are you guys talking about? What car? I don't even know what you're talking about. And as it turns out, one of his church friends was forging his name to basically buy a car, and he fell behind in the payments. And because he fell about behind in the payments, that's why these guys came to basically get the car. All this time they thought that my roommate had this car on campus, when in actuality this guy just basically forged his identity, and he basically was driving this car throughout town or whatever. So I mean, forgery does happen. We don't know that Breonna Taylor actually got these cars in her name. We don't know if these, if Jamarcus Glover actually forged all this, right? We don't know, right? It's safe to assume because they were in a relationship that this happened. But now that I'm looking at this conversation, she's accusing Jamarcus' baby mother is accusing him of getting Breonna killed, right? So, and when you go through the conversation, it's plausible. It's plausible that he could have possibly forged the her identity to get the cars, because she's basically accusing him of using her address when he shouldn't have, right? And we don't know that Breonna Taylor approved of that, right? So anyway, it goes on. Jay Glover says to Kate Bradley, dude told me I just seen you leave your last baby mama house. They know where you live at. Kiera, they've been knowing where you live at. That's what they find out when they got an investigation on a mother freaker. They gonna find out everything. Jamarcus, at the end of the day, it's all BS. No, it's not all BS. They got you dead to rights, Playboy. It's some sugar for some spaghetti we ate. Huh? I don't really get that. It's at the end of the day, it's all BS. It's some sugar for some spaghetti we ate. I don't get it. I think this guy's delusional if he doesn't know that they have him, because I mean, you guys have seen everything up to this point. They got him dead to rights. And then Jay Glover makes another call to his baby mama, Kiera Bradley, and Kate Bradley says to Jay Glover, they know that me and you hadn't been messing around. That's probably why they didn't come to my house. But I feel like Chop, if they know it's my house, why they why the heck wouldn't they have a search warrant? They know I was there before, they wouldn't have come in there. And then Kate Bradley says to Jake Jamarcus again, do you tell them this is your baby mama's house? Why the heck are they putting me on this mother freaking case, my nigga? Cause you that one they want. I don't know much is going to take for you to know what the hell? I can't even read this. I don't know how much is going to take for you to know that you the only one they want, Chop. And then Jay Glover to Jamarcus to Kate Bradley. I'm hurt. My name getting called out. Bree's death. This my nigga Kenneth Walker's in jail. This nigga got Bree dead. At the end of the day, he's blaming it on somebody else. Nah, it's you. You're the reason she's dead. At the end of the day, it was not my fault. Yes, it was. This is the nigga's fault that's in here. The reason why it happened. The nigga is straight right here. Kate Bradley says to Jake Gulliver, "Okay, do y'all talk, or is he still on some defensive shit?" I'm trying not to curse, but I mean it's getting impossible at this point. Jake Glover says to Kate Bradley, he said they were beating on the door. Kate Bradley says to Jamarcus, "Yeah, so I would shoot too, like I got a gun under my bed. If someone come in my house at 12 o'clock at night, I would shoot too. I got to protect my kids." And then Kate Bradley says to Jake Glover, "You got to stop moving so messy." Oh, he gonna stop. He gonna stop because he locked up. He can move as messy as he want to in jail because they got him. And trust me, he's not getting away. Kate Bradley says to Jake Glover, "You have to stop moving so messy. You are the one they want," and they got him. And then Jamarcus calls Kiara again, his baby mama. As soon as Kate Bradley answers the phone, Jake Glover tells her, "Call Domo, Dominique Crenshaw." Then the line goes silent. Kate Bradley comes back on the line and says, "Chop, he's on there." And then Jake Glover says to unknown male, "What up, Domo?" Dominique Crenshaw. Kenneth just got her killed, nigga. Sitting in jail like it's all good, like he's straight, like ain't shit, like ain't his fault. Crenshaw says to Jake Glover, "So he's the one shooting the gun." Jake Glover says to D. Crenshaw, "Yeah, he shoots at the police. They shot back, Bree in the hallway, and she gets killed." Dominique Crenshaw then gets off the phone. Kate Bradley says to Jake Glover, "They searched that Crown Vic you had, 20,000 that Crown Vic." Jake Glover says to Kate Bradley, "Hell no, hell no. I ain't been in that Crown Vic." Don't they understand that? I don't get it because I mean everybody and their mama knows that when you go to jail, the phone conversations that you have can be recorded. Everybody knows that. Everybody and their freaking mama knows this. Kate Bradley says to Jay Glover, "That's where you've been hiding shit. Where's your money at?" Jay Glover says to Kate Bradley, "I was in the house, 2424 LA Avenue. They found that shit outside." Kiara says that Jamarcus, the real Forrest, wants to talk to you. His number, so I can say three-way. Wants to talk to you. What's his number so I can talk to you three-way? Jake Glover says to Kate Bradley, redacted. The line then goes silent for a bit. Jake Glover says to D Forrest, "They hit the house last night. Bree got killed last night." I'm just gonna stop this right here. Leave your questions and comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Um, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this again. I don't know if any of this information is official. I don't know if it's valid, so on and so forth. I don't know how legit this information is, but I mean, you guys have heard the sayings, right? Uh, I don't need to tell you the story of Jonah. I'm a horrible Christian. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm probably one of the worst Christians that you could ever really meet. But apparently Jonah was riding with some bad people on the boat, and he ends up getting swallowed by the whale, guilty by association. I don't even know if I'm remembering this story right. So we're gonna drop the Jonah story, and we're just gonna go ahead and just say, when you sleep with dogs, you wake up with fleas. Breonna Taylor may not have been a bad person. She didn't deserve to die. She was dating to she was dating a drug dealer, and because she was dating a drug dealer, she ended up getting caught up in a situation she shouldn't have been caught up in. This report thus far doesn't show Breonna Taylor actually doing anything wrong. In my opinion, they could have got her on a RICO charge, and a lot of times what the feds do, what police do in general, they just charge you anyway, and then they hold you and until you talk. They hold you hoping that you're going to give up some information, and they basically screw your life up. You're sitting in jail, you're running back and forth to court, you're paying all these lawyers, all because you were associated with the wrong people. So I think if she hadn't been killed, that could have been her fate. She could have been arrested on a RICO charge, And even though they don't really have anything, you have to understand when you go back and forth to court, it's the game is not fair. The game is rigged to make you lose. And when you put yourself in that arena, you give them the power to do bogus stuff to you. And one of the things they could have done to her, even though I don't see anything in this report that implicated her in any crime, they could have used this report to say, yes, it should be indicted on a RICO because she's associated with this crew, and this crew is basically selling drugs. They don't have to have anything. And they probably would know that the jury wouldn't convict her, but you have to roll your dice. If you're in her shoes, you have to roll your dice. So now she'll have to either give up Jamarcus or give up somebody in the crew, or she'll have to risk going before a jury, telling her story, and then going to jail. This game is not fair. They know it's not fair. So that's it for this video. I'm just going to stop right here. I'm going to try to pick it up later. Leave your questions and comments below. Let me know what you think. And it's really chopped up, but let me know, what are your thoughts about Breonna Taylor at this point? Like, if this information is true and correct, what are your thoughts about Breonna Taylor now? Like, I still support Breonna Taylor because to me, it just looks like she was dating the wrong person. It looks like she was just dating the bad guy. And we all know that women like bad guys. They don't want that nerd. They don't want, that the guy that goes to church every Sunday. They don't want that guy. They want, the bad boys. So this is one of the consequences. And I'm not saying Breonna Taylor deserved to die, and I'm not saying she deserved to be shot. But I guarantee you, if she hadn't been shot, they would have arrested her if this information is true. And again, they don't have anything on her, in my opinion, other than the fact that there's a few cars in her name. Uh, the guy is going to and from her address, and the guy used her address in a couple of times when the cars were basically impounded, and he used the address on several other occasions. But that doesn't mean that she consented to any of this, right? You have to have evidence. He could have easily forged her identity to get those cars. I personally know someone who's had their identity forged or stolen so that somebody can get a car. So I know it's possible, and I know it happens, right? So we don't really see any evidence in this report thus far that Breonna Taylor was a drug lord. We don't see any evidence in this report thus far that Breonna Taylor was a criminal. So let me know what you think. Is there anything that you see in this report thus far that makes Breonna a criminal, or is she just guilty of dating a bad guy? Questions and comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe.